everyone, it's Adrienne Furry here, live on Facebook. How's everyone doing this morning? I am just back from a week in, well, just shy of a week, about 5 days in Orlando, Florida. I was there for a business conference and it was an amazing experience, and I was a part of the team that was helping to do some makeup and some styling work for some of the big speakers that were going to be presenting up on stage. And so, and just swipe left to see my viewers. Let's see who's here. Still a little bit new to Facebook Live, so bear with me. All right, anyway. We'll figure that out another time. Anyway, so I was up on, I was helping out with these people that were up on stage, and also for myself, they were long days. I was up at, 5 o'clock, and I would be going straight through the whole day, and probably wouldn't be going to bed until about probably close to midnight. And I needed my makeup to last and to look good. And the same issue, of course, for the people that were going to be, sponsoring and up on stage speaking. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you today, and it's, a question that I hear a lot from my clients and, people that reach out to me online is, how do I get my makeup to last? Because it's all fine and dandy to do your makeup in the morning and you think, yeah, okay, everything looks great. And then, you catch yourself in the mirror 3 hours later and you look like a big hot mess. Nothing's where you originally put it. And that's frustrating, and it's kind of defeats the whole purpose and point of trying to really put our best foot forward. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you right now are my 3 simple tips to really get your makeup to last, right? So that it really looks as close to as perfect as when you did it first thing in the morning to when you go to bed at the end of the day. And so again, this is especially important for those really long days, right? Again, those kind of days where you're going to be up early and you're on the go and you really don't have a lot of time to be fussing, and it's important to look your best. And you want to take some time to be looking good and not having your face melt, basically. And so here are my 3 simple tips for you today. First one is, we're going to talk specifically, well, there's my dogs barking, specifically about eye makeup, because that's often one of the main areas that I find a lot of women have a challenge with their makeup holding up, is around the eyeshadows. And so what tends to happen is, if you haven't done your makeup properly, your eyeshadows will crease or fade. And when we talk about creasing, that's where they transfer around and they go into kind of the little folds of the skin around the eyes, and doesn't look great. And so one of the main best tips that I can give you to help prevent this is you need to use a primer under your eyes. And there's a lot of primers on the market, and I'm not necessarily a huge advocate or fan of all the different types of primers, but I really do think that when it comes to eye makeup, using a primer makes the world of difference. So what you want to be doing is, you get your makeup on, do your foundation. I always prep the eyelid first with a little bit of foundation. This just helps to even out the coloring of the skin. It gives your makeup something to stick to. And for some people that might be enough of a primer, so to speak. Like a lot of the primers that are on the market are basically just glorified concealers, right? Like it's just sort of like a heavier concealer. For some of you, you might find that that's enough for you, is to just prep the eyelid with a little bit of foundation first. But for myself, when I'm doing makeup like on myself, or when I'm doing makeup for a client or teaching, I always train on using a primer. And so the main thing to be looking for with your primer is that it's an eye primer that sets. In my opinion, they need to set to a waterproof finish. A lot of the primers on the market stay kind of creamy and they don't really set. So what you want is something that when you put it on the skin, it actually dries. And what this does is it creates a barrier between your skin and then the products that are going to be going over top of it. And so I wish I could see who is live here with me. Hang on, let me see if I can figure this out. Sorry, guys. All right. Anyway, I'm not sure what's happening here. I apologize. I can't see who's here with me right now. I will figure this out. And so anyway, so you want this primer, and so the line, like the Pro line that I work with, makes a great primer. Another one that I really like and I've used lots over the years is MAC Paint. It's another great product. And with these primers, you can use them as either standalone eyeshadows on their own. You don't need to put anything over them, or you can pair them up with another eyeshadow. And they make the world of difference to how well your shadows will hold up throughout the day. The second simple tip that I have for you is use powder, but use it strategically, because I'm not a big fan of really heavily powdered, really matte looking skin. I really like the style of makeup and where you really look like yourself. And so what that typically means then is avoiding a lot of really heavy foundations and heavy powders. But that doesn't mean that you want to avoid powder altogether either. And so, because what can happen is throughout the day, especially when we are wearing foundations and say you're somewhere humid, like where I was in Orlando, for example, very different than our climate here in Calgary, which is really dry. Skin gets humid, and when it starts to get a little bit humid, or say you've gotten hot, a little bit sweaty, say you're up on stage speaking, the lights are on you, you're a little bit nervous, it's just been a busy day, you're working hard, skin gets a little bit shiny throughout the day. And especially with foundations, sometimes skin can almost look a little bit shinier because of like the oils and stuff that are in the foundations. So what you want to be doing is using powder, but I don't recommend using heavy powder all over your whole face, because that's going to make your skin look really flat. It's going to make you feel like you've got a lot of makeup on, and it also builds up over the course of the day if you're continuously powdering a lot throughout the day. And this can make the overall effect feel like you're wearing like a mask, right? Which is what none of us want, that feeling, or I certainly don't anyway. You want it to feel like yourself. And so what I recommend doing is using they go by various names, but essentially like a blotting powder or a translucent powder. And what you do with it, typically they'll look like white or just like a very sort of pale color. And when you use them, you don't really get a lot of powder on your brush. All it does is it helps to just take the shine off the skin. And so once you've done your makeup, I would use a little bit of powder just to help set your makeup through the T-zone, so through your nose, chin, forehead. But I would avoid the areas right around the eyes, and I like to leave the cheeks with a little bit of a natural kind of glow to them, and this helps to give you a little bit of that natural highlighted, lifted cheek effect. And then I would just pop that powder with a brush or like a little sponge, if that's easier for you throughout the day, just into your bag, and maybe halfway through the day and again at dinner time or something, just lightly powder the skin just to take the shine down. It's not something you need to be using a ton throughout the day, but just if you catch yourself in the mirror and you feel like you're starting to look a little kind of melty, sweaty, that's when you reach for the powder. And then the third tip, it sounds really obvious, but is don't touch your face. So this is something when whenever I work with a client for the first time, and if they're going to be, so say it's like someone that it's a special day, like, I don't know, maybe it's a bride, or certainly, like this last weekend where I was working with people that were business people that were up on stage speaking, and again, out in the public eye. If you're not in the habit of sort of wearing a nice full face of makeup and being mindful of this, sometimes it's easy to touch your face without thinking about it. So, some people are in the habit of rubbing their eyes. If they wear glasses, they're sort of in the habit of kind of, rubbing the bridge of their nose, or, if they're on their phone, their face is pressing up against their phone. All those kinds of things. And so what you need to do is basically train yourself to just keep your hands away from your face. This makes a huge, huge, huge difference, especially around the eyes. You really, when you've had nice makeup either done or you've done nice makeup yourself, you don't want to really be going in and messing that up. So no fingers. All right, so of course, lots of other little tips and strategies that go into getting your makeup to last, but those are really the top 3 ones that I find that are pretty easy to implement and really do make a big difference to how well your makeup holds up. So if you like what you see here, send some love, click like, share, and let me know down in the comments down below. What questions you have for me? What are you interested in learning more about around, you know, the topics of makeup and image and how to put your best foot forward? And other than that, I look forward to connecting with you again soon. And until next time, bye.